Do you know what a reliquary is? It's a vessel, a container made to hold relics in the Christian church. And what are these relics? Well, the vast majority of them are the bones of dead saints. Hello and welcome. My name's Campbell. This is Autodidactic. Thanks for joining me. And let's get into relics and reliquaries. A reliquary, also referred to as a shrine, is a container for relics. A portable reliquary may be called a ferrifer, and a chapel in which it is housed is a feretory. Relics may be the purported or actual physical remains of saints and may comprise bones, pieces of clothing, or some object associated with saints or with other religious figures. The authenticity of any given relic is often a matter of debate. The use of reliquaries became an important part of Christian practices from at least the 4th century, initially in Eastern churches, which adopted the practice of moving and dividing the bodies of saints much earlier than the West, probably in part because of the new capital of Constantinople, which lacked buried saints. Relics are venerated in the Oriental Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and some Anglican churches. Reliquaries provide a means of protecting and displaying relics. While frequently taking them from caskets, they range in size from simple pendants or rings to very elaborate ossuaries. And an ossuary is just a chest or box or building made to serve as a final resting place of human skeletal remains. So what are relics? Well, here on Etym the etymology of the word relic is from 1200, a body part or other object held in reverence or attention due to its connection with a holy person. From late Latin, the remains of a martyr. In classical Latin, remains or remnants. So how did this whole concept of relics, which was basically making sacred the parts or possessions of saints, become popular? Well, it goes back to the Old Testament. And this is from 2 Kings 13:20-21. And it says, once while some Israelites were burying a man, suddenly they saw a band of raiders. So they threw the man's body into Elijah's tomb. When the body touched Elijah's bones, the man came to life and stood up on his feet. So that purportedly is the origin of relics. Basically, Elijah's body brought a man back to life. And so after that, they started the Christian church, or some churches in the Christian religion started to venerate these bones as holy or magical. And I do find this interesting because, as we just read, the first relic is said to have brought a man back to life. Now, that sounds a bit like necromancy to me. And also, this is the Christian church who basically say that anything to do with magic or, voodoo, unchristian spirituality, right through to tarot cards, all this kind of stuff is evil, is of the devil. Yet here is the church venerating and worshipping the bones and possessions of dead people who in the Christian religion are marked as saints. So let's go and have a look at a few of these reliquaries. And here we just have the 3 classes of relics. First class relics are directly associated with Jesus Christ or the physical remains of a saint's body. Second class relics are items owned by a saint, and third class relics are items or objects that have been in contact with a first or second class relic. What we have here is the head of Saint Oliver Plunkett. As you can see there, basically it looks like a mummified head, still got the teeth in it. He was an Irish Catholic archbishop who died in the last victim of the popish plot in which he was falsely accused of treason against a Protestant king, Charles II. He was then hung, drawn, and quartered. This was in the 1600s, 1681. And so they have got his head, and it is in a reliquary sitting in St. Peter's Church in Drogheda, Ireland. We have St. Clair's fingernails and hair clippings in this box. As we can see, lots of lockets of hair. St. Clair, 1194 to 1253, living in Assisi among the famous St. Francis, was known for her long, beautiful hair. In the process of devoting her life fully to God, she wanted to get rid of her vanity, and she cut off all her hair, which was collected by an unknown follower. And so apparently this hair in this box, this reliquary, is about 800 years old. So it's doing pretty well. Here we have Saint Dacian, and this is, it looks like a whole body, if you can see here. And it says, this story is just crazy. The relics are of a very obscure and almost ungoogleable Roman martyr, Saint Dacian. Can be found on Manhattan Island. They were sent to the Church of the Most Holy Redeemer in 1892 by a wealthy Italian lady. And according to the story, she could no longer afford to keep them in her private chapel, so she donated them to the American church to avoid their seizure. There were some rumors in Manhattan that the waxed remains actually belonged to a policeman shot while defending the church from burglars. So again, a lot of these relics, you know, they're unverified. So they're just relics to the church because people are saying that they're saints and all these different things. So this one here, they're saying is a wax figure. So I'm guessing that the skeleton's inside. I don't know. It would have to have parts of this saint, Saint Dacian, in it for it to be a relic or a reliquary. I mean, maybe it's just his clothes. I'm not sure. It doesn't explain here. Here we have another one. And here is the Pope. And this is the blood of Saint Januarius, who is the patron saint of Naples in Italy. An ampule reliquary containing his blood has been kept in the Duomo di Napoli, or the Naples Cathedral, since the 14th century. The dried blood is famous for events of liquefaction, usually 3 times a year on September 19th, December 16th, and the memorial day of his relic reunification. So that's basically their proof that it's a relic, is they're saying that it's congealed, dried blood, and it actually liquefies, turns back into liquid 3 times a year. But there are many reports for the years that the blood liquefaction miracle did not occur. Now, here's another really weird one. Another relic of the Christian church is the Holy Foreskin, professionally called the Holy Prepuce, is a relic of, well, a foreskin removed during Jesus' circumcision. So this is supposed to be Jesus's foreskin. At least 18 churches in Europe have claimed to possess this delicate piece, starting from the year 800 when Charles the Great gifted it to Pope Leo III, grateful for being crowned emperor. Most of the sites are connected to the Feast of the Holy Circumcision, which is the 1st of January, popular in France and Italy. The last known trace of the foreskin relic was in Calcutta, India, from where it vanished in 1983. Just like with other missing relics, there are many rumors that just got crazier and crazier. So that's crazier than this. The Holy Foreskin, there you go, is a relic, but that one has been lost. Here we have another skeleton, the skeleton of Saint Boniface. And it says, this intact and preserved skeleton of Saint Boniface of Tarsus can be found in the Church of Saint Anthony of Padua in Warsaw. This is a picture dressed up. You can see the skull, and they've even put a little crown on him. Here's another interesting one. The Virgin Mary's breast milk. This is a picture called the Madonna Lactans, or the breastfeeding Madonna, obviously Mary feeding Jesus. And it says you can find it in the chapel of the Milk Grotto in Bethlehem in the Palestinian territories. The grotto was erected in 1872, but the site was the center of Christian pilgrimage from the Byzantine era. According to Christian traditions, Bethlehem is where the Holy Family found refuge during the massacre of the innocents, and Virgin Mary's milk supposedly dropped on the floor while she was breastfeeding baby Jesus, changing its color to white. The grotto is a popular shrine among couples struggling with infertility, and the site sells limestone powder made from the grotto stone, meant to be dissolved in a drink and consumed as a cure for infertility. According to the church, such powder can be classified as a third-class relic. So I'm not even sure what this relic is, because they say that the breast milk hit the ground and then turned the ground white. So it must be, I guess, a second-class relic, and they're saying that that's the floor. So, as you can see, a lot of these relics that are still worshipped, and pilgrims go there, and with this one, they crush up the limestone and drink it. There's not a lot of evidence for them. I mean, even this story is just very scant on details, and it really puts the whole relic thing into faith. You've just got to have faith that the limestone you're drinking was turned to that by Mary's breast milk. Here we have the heads of St. John the Baptist, and it says heads, Cathedral of Amiens. Here's the picture. It's a skull basically being put into a plate of some kind. A bit gory. Looks like he's still got his eyes in the sockets. I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, it looks kind of mummified, right? It looks like you can still see a bit of the skin on there. The Gothic Cathedral in Amiens is a city in North France, and it was built especially to house the relics of St. John the Baptist. The saint's head was reportedly brought back from Constantinople in 1206 by Crusader Wallen de Sarton. And of course, St. John the Baptist is a major religious figure in Christianity, portrayed as a forerunner of Jesus Christ. And John was beheaded by Herod Antipas around 28 to 36 CE as a punishment for criticizing the ruler's recent divorce, followed by an unlawful marriage. So they beheaded St. John. We all know St. John the Baptist baptized Jesus and got beheaded, and they have his head as a relic. But the plot thickens. As I said in the start, it's St. John's heads, plural. And the reason is that it says also the German Museum in Munich takes pride in having St. John's head. The history of how the Holy Head made it to Munich is unclear. So again, it puts a bit of a question mark on these relics. This one you can't see. I'm guessing they're saying the head is wrapped up in this material. And then we also have the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus. And yep, it's St. John the Baptist's head again. It can be found in Damascus, Syria. The Umayyad Mosque is one of the largest and oldest mosques in the world. It was built after the conquest of Damascus by the Muslims in 634 on the site of a previous Christian basilica dedicated to St. John. The relic is currently located inside a shrine dedicated to the saint, and just like the Munich head, it is not exposed. So here it is here, and you can see it's wrapped up in cloth as well. So that's the relic. People throwing money in here. So this is very faith-based. Obviously, you have to have faith that these relics are real. And here we have Catherine of Siena's severed head. St. Catherine of Siena was a lay member of the Dominican order known for receiving stigmata, appearance of holy wounds, and having mystical visions as early as the age of 7. She died young from natural causes, but due to the appearance of the stigmata and pain, she is considered a martyr. She died outside her convent in Rome, but her head was stolen in order to bring it back to Siena. So, I mean, that's a bit gruesome, right? I mean, who's going around cutting all these heads off? It's not really a way to venerate a saint or a holy person, is it? Decapitation. We'll go on. We've got a couple more here. Come on. The tongue and jaw of St. Anthony. It says, unlike most of the saints pictured, Saint Anthony of Padua did not die as a martyr, but of edema or swelling. His body was exhumed in 1263, more than 30 years after his death. To everyone's shock, Anthony's tongue had not decomposed. St. Anthony was known and praised around the world for his captivating sermons, and that's the reason they say that his tongue survived. Both the tongue and the jawbone are displayed in the Basilica of St. Anthony in Padua. And a fun fact is the tongue did a full-on rockstar tour through the New York churches in 2013. So these are some of the most famous relics in the Christian church. And here's one last one. The relics of Mary Magdalene are a set of human remains that purportedly belong to the Christian saint Mary Magdalene, one of the female followers of Jesus. The most famous relic is a blackened skull displayed in a golden reliquary at the Basilica of Saint Maxima le Saint Baume in southern France, which has been described as one of the most precious relics in all of Christendom and one of the world's most famous sets of human remains. You know, again, it's a bit weird, right? It's a bit morbid, all this severing of body parts and then displaying, you know, skeletons and mummified bits of bodies. I don't know. What do you think? Leave me a comment below. And other relics said to have belonged to Mary Magdalene include a foot bone located in the Basilica of San Giovanni in Italy, a left hand located in Simonepetra Monastery in Greece, and a tooth displayed at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. So there you go. They are some of the most famous relics in Christendom. And yeah, again, leave me a comment. What do you think about all this? Like I said, the first relic was from Elisha's body when someone touched his bones and came to life. And, you know, it's a bit necromancy, right? It's a bit sort of death worshipy. And, you know, the fact that they're cutting these bodies up and putting relics in different places makes me think of William Wallace. Basically, it was the church, you know, and the state that put him to death, and they hung, draw, and quartered him. And that's what they used to do, is they used to break up the body and take it to different places. So as a way to sort of kill the spirit, right? So it couldn't reform. And isn't that what they're doing here to these relics? So a bit strange. So let's have a quick look at some of these reliquaries. All right, so here's a couple of reliquaries. This is a shrine attributed to John de Toyle, circa 1325. So most of these reliquaries seem to be from around that time, the sort of, you know, 1100s to 1400s. I'm not sure. It doesn't tell me what is held within this reliquary. Looks like it might be something to do with Jesus or Mary. Now, these are the ones that interest me. Now, I actually saw some of these, and the photos are coming up, when I was in Dubrovnik in Croatia. And as you can see, this is an arm. Down here we have this, you know, door, this opening, which is where they would put the relic in. And I can't find a lot of information on these. So let me know, you know, in the comments if you've got more. But these seemed, what I'm thinking is this would hold an arm bone, right? Some kind of the arm within it. This one is sort of mounted, as you can see. This one as well, another reliquary of an arm, you know, very ornate, this one. So I'm not exactly sure. Like I said, it doesn't tell me what's inside these, but I'm guessing it's something to do with arm bones. This is another vessel. And this is the thing with most of these, you can't see the actual relic that's inside. You've just got to, you know, have faith, believe that it's part of a saint in there. And some of these look a lot like monstrances, like this one. This is a reliquary that holds a finger bone, is what they're saying. So if we come in here, I mean, is that part of a finger bone? I don't know. It looks like it's wrapped up in a hessian, and it's inside this, what that looks like a monstrance. And a monstrance is a very similar thing to a reliquary, except that a monstrance, they say, holds the sacrament and it's much more to do with Jesus, but it's to do with, the sacrament, the wine and the bread is a monstrance, but this they're calling a reliquary. Here's another one. Now, this is very similar to the ones I saw in Dubrovnik. Okay, another arm, two fingers and a thumb up, and you can see these holes. Is this where they're stashing, pushing the bones through? I mean, I'm not sure. And this one, as you can see, is not on a stand. So I'm thinking some of these may have been taken into war, because when we look at the ones coming up, they look like they're made to take into battle. This is the jawbone of St. Anthony from 1349. As you can see, there's a jawbone in there, in this very, very ornate reliquary. And with these reliquaries, when I was looking into them, most of them say they're not sure who made them. So are these artifacts, these reliquaries from the old world as well? Here we have another one, again, looking like a monstrance. The monstrances normally have glass in them, so you can see inside what's in there, the sacrament and things. This is circa 1175 to 1200. Again, artist unknown. Okay, so here we have some of the photos I took. These are reliquaries. This was just in a museum in Fort Lovrenjak in Dubrovnik. And this is sort of what got me looking into, what are these things? Christ's scourging pillar reliquary. Of course, unknown, built by an unknown person, 1555. So this apparently has the bones of some saint or something related to the saint in it. Now, these are and these, if you look at them, these are fingers. Look at this, you can see the nail there. So this says St. Luke's finger reliquary. So does that mean that the finger bone of St. Luke is in here? Right. Here's another one, St. Theodore's finger, all from 1555, by the way, with unknown master, built by an unknown master. Here we have some more. These, again, looking more like monstrances to me. Oh, there you go. They are monstrances with crystal rock. This one's a reliquary, though. Okay, so you can see how they're very similar objects. So one just holds, like I said, the sacrament, the other remains of a saint. But down here, I've got some better pictures coming up. You can see these are legs. So here's a better view, and we have a full leg here and a full leg here. So this is why I'm thinking, were they taken into battle somehow? I don't know, maybe for people who've lost their leg. But they look like parts of armor, right? Again, were these made, or are these from the old world or the new world? Because look at the workmanship in these is crazy. This, again, looking like a monstrance. Can't read what it is in this picture. Here are some more arms. The arm reliquary of St. Lawrence and the arm reliquary of St. Serge. Right, again, looking like armor, maybe because they're made of metal, because there's no movement in these, but what are these really? Were they just to put around? And you can see all of these reliquaries have these little slots. And is that where they put the little bits of bone in? I don't know. Bit interesting. They also had in this museum all these chalices, which is interesting as well. I mean, they're kind of like the sacred objects as well. I guess called chalice, all saying they're all from Dubrovnik around the 15th, 16th century. But, this is this what the Holy Grail was? One of these chalices? And a chalice is just a cup, is basically a cup, a vessel in which wine is administered in the celebration of the Eucharist or the Lord's Supper. This is something else that I found, which I thought was pretty cool. This is the altar crucifix. And look how ornate this is, right? Again, we have the little cheruby angel things, which we see all through Christendom. But look at this cross right here. We have Jesus, the crucifixion, but look at all the bits coming off it. It just looked very, very antiquity to me. And it almost looks like, these bits may have been put on at a later date don't know what it is, but these bits coming off look like they're a lighter silver, a different metal of some kind. So, I don't know, but it's with all of these objects, these reliquaries and monstrances. What do you think? Are these actually made, between the sort of 1100 and 1600s? Or are these found? Are these old relics that are found? Because, we know that there was people, especially around World War II, who were scouring the earth for relics, right? Relics from an older, previous advanced civilization. So are these worshipped because, when they were first found, they may have still been working a bit. Maybe they still do. They were giving off some kind of energy. And so that they were valued for that and worshipped for that. And obviously the bones comes into it as well. Why are Christians worshipping the bones of dead people and literally dismembering these saints so that they can put their parts in these reliquaries? I don't know, I find it all very strange and interesting. And it just, it seems to go against what the Christian doctrine in it is, as far as, it's very, especially the original story, it's very necromancy, right? Bringing the dead people back to life. And then because of that they're still worshipping these relics thousands of years later. So what do you think? Relics and reliquaries and the Christian church. Leave me a comment below. Please also give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's help to get this message out there that basically there was a recent advanced civilization, and we can see the remnants of this all around us in our buildings, in our geology, in the relics, the objects that we have that are just these anomalies or parts, out of place artifacts. It's all pointing to, basically, as far as I can see, one conclusion, and that is that there was a recent advanced civilization, and some kind of cataclysm or reset came in and took it down. And of course, it seems like a parasitic energy or consciousness has taken over, and here we find ourselves. So this is all about unveiling the past, because as we know, his story is not our story. So thanks for joining me. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Remember, in the end, nobody wins unless everybody wins. Come on!